standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Sunset Safari, the only place in the entire world that you can watch a 3-hour live safari every day, twice a day. My name is Jamie and I have Jandre on camera with me. Brent is out with Dave searching for all of the magical creatures of the African bush. And if this is your first time in joining us, we are coming to you live from Djuma, Arathusa and Cheetah Plains Game Reserve in the Sabi Sand in the Greater Kruger National Park area of South Africa. And not only are we live, but we are also interactive, which means you can send through your questions on #SafariLive on Twitter, or you can do that through email on questions@wildearth.tv. And let us go and head out on this bright and beautiful sunny winter's afternoon. I've forgotten what temperature it is, but it's nice and warm. Let's go with that. I completely got out of my head. It's nice and warm, and it's another beautiful cloudless day. 26 and 78, 26, 78, says the little voice in my ear that belongs to Jerry, who will be directing us this afternoon with the help of the eminently capable Rebecca. Everything is starting to... Oh, it's only fitting, you know, Jandre. It really is only fitting. You can see him there. So this morning I thought that Jandre and myself had found every steenbok in the area. I missed one. But that's okay, we've put it on camera for the Sunset Safari. Somehow it just worked out that way. And we seem to encounter... Sorry, there's a funny smell coming from Wendy. It smells a bit like burning. Just the handbrake up. That would explain that. I was going to say that Jandre and myself found every single steenbok, but we didn't. We missed one. We just had a steenbok and warthog, actually, filled morning. No sign of the lovely Queen Karula. If you missed the sunrise safari this morning, her kill is gone from the tree in which she had placed it. We could see the mark where it had tumbled down out of the tree and onto the ground, and obviously it had been gobbled up by some hungry hyena. As to where Karula has disappeared to with her 2 lovely cubs, well, she didn't go east, west or south, so I'm assuming she's either somewhere very close to where we left her, or she's come north, which is where we're heading to at the moment. And thank you to Kevin Catfish's update about the elephants on the Djuma Dam camera. I'm also planning on paying them a visit, because going a 24-hour period without seeing an elephant is not how I want to spend my weekend. And we're going to go and look for some elephants to show you as well. And then there is, of course, the mystery as to where the Nkuhumas disappeared to. Nobody's seen hide nor hair of them, or indeed tracks this morning. They've got to be around somewhere. And then we will, of course, keep you updated as to what is happening with the elephant that died of natural causes on Buffelshoek. Find out whether or not any of the lions have gone across in that direction. And whenever you see me doing this and going backwards, it's because I've spotted some footprints in the sand, and I want to just double check exactly what they are. I don't know what I saw here, but something attracted my attention. I think it's just old hyena tracks from our clan making their way back towards the Manuleti. Yeah, definitely just old hyena tracks. I got very excited there for a moment, thought perhaps wild dogs had come wandering around. And the lovely news is that Brent is finally able to go to Cheetah Plains. The whole of this week he's been sort of thinking about it, but every time he heads in that direction something distracts him. Something wonderful, of course. I think it was leopard cubs the last time. But he does seem to be struggling to get there, so now he has disappeared off Djuma as quickly as possible in order to make sure that he isn't distracted by something on the way, and he's heading off to Cheetah Plains. It certainly feels like a while since we've been across in that direction. So Cheetah Plains, for those of you who are joining us for the first time or are unfamiliar with our geography of the area, Cheetah Plains is a reserve that is part of our traverse area, but we have to travel quite a distance to get to. Now, depending on who is driving, it usually takes between 10 to 15 minutes. With Brent, it'll probably be about 10, and we'll see when he gets there what's happening on that side of the world, right next to the Kruger boundary with some amazing views to look at. One thing we have noticed over the last few days, for me it feels like since Brent went to Rwanda, but it might even just have been since the rains fell, that the general game is hiding. I don't know where it's hiding away somewhere. We've had some spectacular sightings of leopards and lions, don't get me wrong, but our general game species seem to be keeping themselves relatively scarce, barring, of course, for the steenbok. We saw, how many did we see, Jean-Andre? 6, 7, 8 this morning? That would be about right. It was about 8 this morning. Now 9 steenbok. Okay, we're going to do a steenbok-themed Saturday. It's not Saturday Catterday anymore, it is Saturday Steenbok Day. Doesn't have quite the same ring to it. For the initial stages of our sunset safari, we have to avoid the front of the lodges because we go out a little bit earlier than they do, which means we don't really want to disturb the guests while they're having their afternoon tea just before they go out on game drive. I'm relatively certain this is a log, but I would never forgive myself if I drove past a lion. Now I have to try and describe to Jean-Andre where it is. Do you see that dead tree? Not the one closest to us, but the one behind it. Yeah. A little bit to the left. There, yeah, no, too far. There we go. It's sort of on the right-hand side of your screen at the bottom there. There's something yellow. My binoculars are broken, which has been utterly devastating. Because that really could be a lion, or it could just be a bundle of leaves. Okay, Jean-Andre's vote is on log. Final Control has said it doesn't look like a lion, but they'll wait to see if it moves. I confess, looking at it on the tiny monitor, it doesn't look anything like a lion, but it's the right sort of color.
It's a good spot.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, I am very good at spotting lion logs and other such things. Termite mound leopards. I'm going to go with no. No, hold on. I swear that just moved. Just for the record, why we are not going to identify a little bit closer is because I can't. This is at Tambuti Dam, which is outside of our traverse area. It might have just been the wind. Okay, well, it was a nice try, I guess. I suppose everybody is looking at what I'm looking at, which is where the dead tree behind the dead tree pens to the right, behind that. Okay. All right. I'm going to go backwards a little bit and try and get another view. I am very good at spotting lion logs, and I did preempt this by saying I think it is a lion log. I think it might be... Oh! Do you see what I mean? Is it just a pile of coloured leaves?
Perhaps scarce rock.
Okay. Jean-Andre thinks rock. This is a dam, by the way. This is... No, I think, you know, when you go at this angle, it doesn't look like a lion at all. I can't even get out to go and walk there to double check. Wait, where's it gone? Oh, there. Okay, I give up. I might ask Aubrey or Jackson to go and investigate, but then I'm going to be really embarrassed if it's not. My binoculars are broken, so I can't double check. This is a waterhole. It is a waterhole that the lions often move through. It's called Tambuti Dam. Okay, shall we just pretend I haven't seen that? Because it's most frustrating. If the lions are called in coming onto Mvubu Road, then I know I was right. I mean, and lions are not exactly the most highly mobile at this time of day, but they're also not necessarily lying in the sun at this time of day, in these kind of temperatures. Should we just say I saw a lion? Should we just do that?
Yes.
Just to make me feel better? Thank you, Jean-Andre. I think there's a lion in there. Definitely a lion. There we go. Thank you, Jean-Andre. Jean-Andre now pandering to to my wishes. I'm honestly going to ask one of the guys to drive past Tambuti Dam and just check that there's no lions there. And I'm going to be very embarrassed when they say there's no lions. Final control was almost won over. Sorry, everybody hold on. Although Rebecca then said termite mound. It might have just been a group of yellow leaves. It was just that wrong colour. And welcome back, Dispatch. Again, it is lovely to have you on board. Dispatch, I think, is amongst some of our newest addicts to Safari Live. And Dispatch says that they send their apologies. And Dispatch, I'm sorry, I don't know whether you're a boy or a girl, so I'm kind of just using an indefinite pronoun here. But Dispatch has said that they are sorry that I saw another lion log. That's the word another that's worrying me so slightly. I'm going to go find you some real lions now. But Dispatch, you want to have some, or you have some burning questions. So you wanted to know what final control is, and you wanted to know what traverse area is. To start with final control is manned by several very, very capable ladies who, they watch the screens that the show is on. So obviously Brent has something on his vehicle, I have something on my vehicle. They choose when to switch and why, and what you might be looking at during the duration of the show. They are also responsible for feeding through your questions, so if something comes through wrong, it might not be my fault. Might be my fault. Might have misheard them, but it also might be their fault. They don't usually get it wrong though. They are expert in what they do. So D1 talks to us, chooses what you look at, and gets the show sort of rolling underway, every now and again cracking the whip. And D2 sifts through the questions and does several things like bookmarking sessions for us to review at a later stage to improve our safari experience, as well as creating highlight reels and so on. And we also get reporting done on us, on the way that we have conducted the safari, and feedback from them every single day. So that is the very incredibly valuable final control, without whom you would not have a live safari experience. Oh, and by the way, on the subject of final control, for those of you familiar with our team, Kirsty's arriving back today along with VM. So, Kirsty the director and VM the wildebeest, a fantastic cameraman and a hilarious entertainer, will be thrilled to have him back in camp with his epic one-liners. And then traverse area, essentially, Cherry just said lovely in my ear. So, and then they laugh at our jokes too, which really helps, because obviously we're talking to the camera, and the cameramen laugh for us as well, which is really nice. But occasionally you don't quite know what's happening on the other side of things, so it's nice to have them as well. And then, traverse area, each and every lodge out here will drive their own property, as well as the property of other landowners, because the Sabi Sands is a conservancy made up of different landowners. Because they don't want to overutilize certain areas, there is a limit to which land you can traverse. There's all kinds of discussions and negotiations behind it. Usually this lodge will be able to traverse my land if my vehicles can traverse that land, and so on. So traverse area is essentially where you can drive. That's all it is, where you can drive. But we can drive certain areas, Djuma, Arathusa and Cheetah Plains. We cannot drive Buffelshoek, which is where the lion was. It's not a lion log, it is a lion, I've decided. So where the lion is Buffelshoek, so we can't drive there. Nor can we walk there or go there unless we are invited at any point, or Torchwood, or Nkoro, or Hoffman's, or Elephant Plains, or... I sound like I'm listing lots more than we can traverse. It's not that way at all. There's just... everybody has their places they can and can't go. Let me go over these bumps. And speaking of traverse areas, I believe that Brent has made the trip to the Far East and is now on Cheetah Plains. So let's head to him and find out where he plans on starting his exploration.
Welcome to the Sunset Safari. My name is Brent. I have Dangerous Dish on camera, and we are in the center of Cheetah Plains at the moment, making our way past 3 in a row pan. Okay, Dave, I'm going to give it to you. Okay, you see that? That. Zoom, 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 all the way to the end of the zoom. Keep going, to the right. Is that a squirrel or is it a slender mongoose? See it there, Dave? No. It's not a pangolin, Dave. It's a slender mongoose. Okay. Beautiful. I just wanted to give you guys a quick look because they're quite difficult and they run away and quite skittish. It's a small carnivore. And we're on a live safari. We were intending to look for some bigger carnivores, but I'll start with a small carnivore. Let's try and get a bit closer to him. Hopefully he doesn't skedaddle. Incredibly effective little carnivores. There he is out in the open. You got him there, Dave, on the road, to the right of where he was. There. Is he stalking something? Bottom right-hand corner. Center frame, there we go. Hello, Mr. Slender Mongoose. What are you trying to catch? I was saying they're incredible little carnivores. They'll catch birds, squirrels, insects, mice. I'll actually chase squirrels up trees. It almost looks like he's stalking something. One of their favorite foods is even Franklin, can you believe it, which are much bigger than them. But their power to weight ratio is excellent. I can't see if he's spotted something to eat. Now, of course, being a carnivore, hunting lots of different things, but being his size, he gets hunted as well by different birds. Your big predatory birds. Looking back, or maybe there's something in the hole he's interested in. And like all carnivores, they show incredible patience. He's definitely looking for something in the bush. We can't see what it is just yet. So I'm very interested to sit here and see what happens. Very slow, deliberate movements. It's unusual to see them out in the open like this. Normally, if they're caught in the open, they scuttle for cover. Those ears are down. Head's focused. What are you after? Well, his head's up now. So Dave and I are probably going to hang around a little bit, see what he gets up to. But while we do that, you might notice there's some very large leavings behind him at the top of frame. Jamie has got the creature that delivered those leavings.
We do indeed have whatever it was that Brent just describes them as. We've got some elephants, and thank you to Kevin Catfish, for whom we have to thank for this particular sighting, because he sent us off in the right direction. I have to tell you, before we get into our elephant sighting irreversibly, I have to tell you what Chandra just did to me. We saw the elephant, and then I stopped and pulled up alongside him, and then Chandra zoomed in on a log and started shouting, "It's a lion, it's a lion, look Jamie, it's a lion."
I would never do that.
Aha, sure. Chandra is now denying that. You can choose who you believe. Right, well, that's an elephant. That is unequivocally an elephant. I've been in the bush a long time, and I can safely tell you that that is indeed an elephant. Plucking away at the bush willow. It's a young male on the outskirts of his herd. The rest of them are in this really tricky drainage system. But I'm hoping that they decide to come out more into the open, because at the moment, most of them are just almost like grey ghosts hidden behind the trees. I think that's one of the things that we love so much about elephants is, despite their massive size, and I mean they really are massive, it's hard to get a sense of perspective. This is a little boy, but even he is enormous compared to us. But despite their massive size, they're such unobtrusive animals. They're such quiet walkers. Silent and subtle, I think, is a good way of describing them. Except, of course, when they push over an enormous tree and it makes a sound like a rifle crack. Then that's less subtle. Hey, little boy. Calling him little boy, he's right at the age where it might be time for him to start leaving the herd. Then I always sort of sympathize with the young male elephants at this age, because none of the rest of the herd really want them around. They get pushed and shoved to the outskirts and serve as a frustration vent for the females at times, whenever they happen to get too close. We saw a really extreme example of that not terribly long ago, where a female pushed over a young male of about just a little bit younger than this and pinned him to the ground. I've never seen anything like it. And I think it only happened because he slipped on the road. But it was incredibly intense to witness that. So at this age, the level of respect that the rest of the herd has for these chaps is pretty much zero. Let's just try go forward a little bit, so we've got him away from the rest of the plant life there. Hello, boy. Tell your family to come this way. It would be very nice. I don't think our bull is going to go off anywhere anytime soon, and I do think that these elephants are moving slowly towards the more open area of Gowrie Cut Line. Oh, we'll just spend a little bit of time being patient, which is quite often the way to find yourself in the best possible elephant sighting. Letting them choose to come to you is the ideal way of approaching it, because the choice is left up to them, and when they are left with the choice, you'll find that they will quite comfortably walk right up to the vehicle. They would never ever let you get that close if you were trying to approach them, but because they've made that choice and that decision, they are far more comfortable with it. It's one of the very first things that they teach you in guiding school, however you may do it. Always let the animal come to you, and never ever push into their personal space beyond what they are comfortable with. Those are the first signs that you start to look for. So for a young boy, his tusks are starting to thicken out nicely. You can see the grooves developing on the left one. I can't see his right tusk, so I can't tell whether he's left or right tusked. I think he's left tusked. And elephants usually have a slave and a master tusk. It's the equivalent, or their equivalent, of being left and right tusked or handed. No, big girl, moving at the back. Are you coming this way? Would you like to come this way? I would like you to come this way. And JR would like to know, as always, welcome JR to our afternoon sunset safari. JR would like to know what factors determine the size of an elephant's home range. Resources, food and water. That will pretty much be the only two factors that they will consider. And within that falls the number of elephants. So how many elephants there are in that particular area, the concentration of elephants. If there's lots and lots, then their home ranges inevitably have to be slightly smaller. Although, that being said, elephants are not territorial beasts. So, whilst if you get a really high concentration of lions, you'll find that their territories are smaller. If you get a very high concentration of leopards, you'll find that their territories and therefore their home ranges are smaller. But with elephants, it doesn't matter to them. They are quite happy to move about in each other's space, in each other's areas. Maybe join up with another herd for a couple of days, spend some time with them. But the size that or the amount of ground that they cover, the distance that they cover, will quite often be determined by food and by water. So the less food there is, the more ground they have to travel each and every day. And that's one of the reasons why they get a little bit tetchy. They're okay now because it's winter, so it's not too hot. But in the summer months, when it's hot and it's dry, as we've experienced with the drought, our elephants' behavior definitely took a turn for the slightly more on edge. It's nice to see them relatively back to normal. I mean, this herd is totally, totally relaxed with our presence. They haven't even glanced in our direction, except for the young male every now and again. I'm trying to think, JR, if there's anything else I've forgotten in terms of factors, but I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it. Good afternoon, Aaron, and welcome to the Sunset Safari. Aaron has a question about our mammal friends in front of us, and that is whether or not once their calves have had... When the calves are born, they have hair. They are very fuzzy, and Aaron would like to know if they shed that hair as they get older. And the answer is yes, a little bit. They are certainly less fuzzy when they grow up, but if you ever find yourself close up to an elephant, if you ever are lucky enough to be able to touch one of these amazing creatures, as I've been through various darting, for example, to move a big bull out of the reserve I used to work at because he was being quite thoroughly, he'd broken in, and he was being quite thoroughly harassed by the other males in that area. So we had to remove him, and if you go and touch them, they're actually quite hairy. It doesn't look like it because it's very sparse, but they've got thick, relatively short and spiky dark hairs on their skin. So they're more hairy than they look. And that just helps to trap the little bits of moisture that might cover their skin, at the same time not providing too much cover to actually be dense. Hello, little one. You cute. Yes. Love baby elephants. Let's go forward ever so slightly, not to get in their space, just to be there when they come out into the road. Hello, little boy. Do you mind if I come through? You're going to go join your family. Ah, you want that tree. I see, fair enough. Chandra is going to shout at me because there's going to be camera in my face. There we go.
Would never shout.
Never, Chandra. There we go. We've got them coming across the road. Lovely little herd. I thought initially it was our snared trunk elephant, but it's not. Just because I saw the baby and the baby looked like the right age. Oopsie! Little one. Wandering across to keep up with Mum and Big Sister. We're going to reposition and stick with these elephants for a little bit longer. However, can you believe it? Brent has still got that slender mongoose. Let's go and have a quick look.
So we're still sitting with the mongoose. He went down the hole. I'm not quite sure what he's up to at the moment. We've just been sitting patiently waiting for him. Maybe he's using it as a periscope spot, hoping an unsuspecting Franklin will come for a drink. You can see very alert little creatures. Of course, they also will go into those disused termite burrows to hunt for rodents and other things that might live down there. So their territories are very similar to sort of your large cats or solitary cats, even though they are a mongoose, of course. But one male will have multiple females within his territory. The females hold smaller territories, and after mating, the male has very little or nothing to do with the rearing of the young. But it doesn't look like he's going to move. I think he's going to sit there and wait for some poor unsuspecting victim to come to him. And as wonderful as it would be to sit here all afternoon watching the little mongoose, let's go see if we can find a bigger carnivore next. There's his little hidey hole. And there we go, bypassing 3 in a row pan. While we go in search of larger carnivores, Jamie's with the largest animal we get here out in the bush.
The largest animal we get, and I know the sort of strange moments, particularly when driving with VM. I am exceedingly grateful that it is not the largest carnivore that we get here, but instead a gentle, plant-eating animal. Our little male has walked, I say little, when he's right up next to you, he isn't that little at all. And when he walks past the vehicle, when he walks past right up close, it was sort of eye level with his jaw. And he's not that small. It's such a special, peaceful sighting. He kind of half looked at us and then just kept walking. A really peaceful sighting. They've obviously just come and had a drink at the Djuma Dam, and are now enjoying a stroll in the afternoon light. Very iconic image, that. An elephant strolling along a road. And they do stroll. That's how I would describe their standard walk. An amble, perhaps. Oh, what's happening, girl? She's talking now. She's talking to him. It's interesting. So what I meant by that was, and I don't know if you could hear it, John, could you hear it? Not really. There's a very deep, bassy rumble that is elephant communication. And it originated from the female of this herd. And she is the only female, from what I can tell. I mean, the only adult female. The rest of them are all young. She rumbled deep in her chest, and then he responded. I wonder if she wasn't saying, where are you going? Or what are you, where are you? Don't go too far. And he, I imagine in my head, which is probably not the case, in his teenage way, probably responded something along the lines of, "Oh, Mom, fine. You little one? You're terribly cute." You can already see from its behavior that it's a female. If it had been a male calf, there's a very good chance that it would have come scuttling out to greet us, being very brave until it realized how far Mom was, and then racing back again. You can clearly distinguish in terms of behavior between females and males. And watch it trailing after its big sister now. Sitting in the presence of these giants, one cannot help but feel a tremendous sense of peace with the world. I just read a story recently about an elephant that fell into a rock pool in the Kruger National Park. A baby elephant. It was thirsty and it had obviously slipped and fallen in, and it couldn't touch the bottom. Elephants are very capable swimmers, even from a young age, but it couldn't touch the bottom of this pool, and therefore couldn't get the momentum it needed to clamber its way out of the rocks. It was well and truly stuck until its mom, who was sort of frantically trumpeting and panicking around the circle of it, until its mom eventually climbed into it with it, into the pool, and pushed the little baby out while the rest of the herd watched her. And she finally managed to yank herself out. And there's a video of it, apparently. I haven't watched the video. I'm not sure what one would have to Google in order to find that. Probably mommy elephant rescues baby, or whatever else, the way that YouTube search approaches go. But it's definitely something I'm going to have a look at when I get home tonight, because it sounded like a truly magical experience and a lovely insight into, first of all, the herd dynamics, and second of all, into just how important or how powerful the bond is between a mother and a calf elephant. So now, this little one, I would guess at about a year old, he's been eating solids for the last 6 or so months, but at the same time has only got little baby teeth, little baby molars, and will still be suckling from mom as well to supplement her diet. Right now it's a sort of a half and half thing, which is generally why baby elephants have more time for playing. First of all, because they're little and they've got more energy, and second of all, because they are getting the additional nutrients from mom's milk. And Anna in Cape Town, welcome to the Sunset Safari. Anna is wondering about the tail hair of an elephant and wants to know if that continues to grow as they get older. Do they ever shed any of it or lose any of it? And yes, absolutely they do. So it's a continuous growth process. And my mom always comments on elephant tails. She always says they look a little bit ridiculous for such an enormous animal. And she's got an entirely valid point. The longer you look at an elephant's tail, the stranger it looks. And just like that, all of our elephants have become a bit shy and are hiding their tails away from us. But Anna does continue to grow, and they do shed it every now and again, just like human beings with the hair on our head, or actually the hair anywhere else. We do constantly lose the hair, our eyelashes, our eyebrows, and elephant tail hair is no different. Oh, that's quite the mouthful, little one. That actually doesn't look too appetizing. It does not look like you're enjoying it at all. And of course, as a baby, hasn't really got, yuck, not nice. Hasn't really got the coordination of the trunk down. And the whole feeding process, like a toddler that insists on feeding itself with a knife and fork or a spoon, the whole feeding process is a little bit lengthier and a little bit messier as a result. Tucking into a young greenthorn. There you go, for Anna, having a look at our tail now that Mom has moved a bit closer. And speaking from experience again, that tail hair is really, really awesome to feel. It's thick, it's almost like wire that they grow. And it's malleable, and very, very stiff. Just be careful though, next time you come to South Africa, about buying things like elephant hair bracelets. Just remember that that elephant hair has got to come from somewhere, and there will always be a question as to where that was obtained and how it was obtained from the elephant. A lot of it in certain areas will come from elephants in sanctuary just shedding the hair. Just think about the number of elephant bracelets that you see in tourist shops around South Africa, and then ask yourself the question as to just how many elephants there are in sanctuaries and if they could provide that amount of hair for those bracelets. Just a little point about the ethics of shopping, or especially curio shopping in Africa. And several tons of animal just walked past us while we were chatting about that. Barely heard a sound. Even on the quietest of days, all you really hear is the scuffing of their feet. They don't even really seem to disturb the leaves as they walk along. The cushioning on the bottom of their feet sort of muffles the sound as they wander off. Little one tailing behind Mom. I'm just wondering when it's going to occur to the little female that she's been left behind. Speaking about the ethics of curios, of course, none of us would set out to buy ivory trinkets or anything of that nature. But Diane and Lynn are both wondering about our dead elephants on Buffelshoek, and we're wondering what happens to those tusks. They are reported, or the death is reported immediately to the Sabi Sand. All unexplained deaths have to be, particularly in the drought. Now, it's normal. I'm going to just go forward a little bit, catch up with the elephants. But elephant deaths at this time of year is normal. The older elephants struggle in terms of meeting their nutritional needs. As you know, their teeth will get worn down. And so they don't have quite the same chewing capabilities that they might if they were younger. And if you factor in old age plus a lack of nutrients, and you get natural deaths like this occurring, regardless of whether we were in a drought or not. But what will happen is the death gets reported, and the Sabi Sand will go and collect the tusks. And as to what happens to it from there, I actually can't tell you. I don't know where they put it. I know that it will go into a safe house of sorts, or into a bank vault, where it will be kept and not sold or utilized in any way. Oh, it's quite a nice little combination of sizes we've got there. Just for aging elephants, actually. If I had to guess, I'd say 1 year old, or the youngest one, obviously. And then I would guess at around 3.5. Maybe, no, I'd say about 3 for the middle one. And then the older female I haven't had a proper look at to age. But never fear, those tusks are taken away from where they can be utilized to feed the black market ivory trade. They're put somewhere for safekeeping. I don't know where they put it, and I wouldn't tell you even if I did. Not of course for Diane and Lynn, but for anybody else that might want to have access to that information. But never fear, they will put it somewhere safe, as they do with rhino horn. And even that piece of what Brent thought was ivory turned out to be petrified leadwood on closer examination, but what he thought he found a piece of ivory on Cheetah Plains, and he was about to take that through to the Sabi Sand management to give it to them to keep safe. And like most of the other countries, South Africa is governed by CITES, which controls the trade of such things. And it's an international treaty, which means, you know, as treaties can be ignored by the various countries, but they usually aren't, just in terms of the political backlash. So ivory is not traded in any way for profit. Our boy is leading the way, wandering off towards the drainage line. An interesting point, we're getting very, very close to where that lion den site is hidden. or at least was hidden. Herbert found it yesterday morning on the sunrise safari, just off this road in this drainage line. And he's showed us roughly where it is. However, we are not able to... First of all, it's not in a good spot for getting a vehicle in. We're going to do tremendous damage to the area, which we try not to do. There's lots of tambuerties there. It's a sensitive, environmentally sensitive area, so we're not going to create a road in there. And also, it's a very, very tricky spot. We'd have to push over lots of trees, and it's just not, for us, it's not worth it in terms of, as much as we'd love to show you those little lion cubs, I'm sure none of you would mind waiting a little bit longer for them to pop out, rather than doing damage that will take 10 years to repair itself. I'm going to stick with my Ellies until I can't any longer, until they disappear into the drainage line. Let's go across to Brent and find out how Cheetah Plains is treating him.
My daughter wants to know what are you doing for what.
Okay, sorry guys, we'll be back with you now. So we're actually on a live game drive. So yeah, so there's everyone's at home behind the camera. That antenna sends. I don't know how that job works. I just drive around. So it's called SafariLIVE. It's on the Nat Geo Wild websites, wildsafariLive.com, and then we do a couple of TV shows live to the channel in the States a year. So yeah. Well, I better get back to my guests. They're all sitting behind Dave. No problem. Cheers. Good luck. Thanks for. So, very interesting news that the Styx Pride is not too far from us here with all their cubs. Unfortunately, they are to the south of our boundary. And fingers crossed they might move towards 3 in a row Pan for a drink or maybe come back into our Travis area. About 150 meters, we can't actually see them. We can just see a car parked there. So I'm hoping that before we head back to Djuma, maybe those lions will come out for a visit. But we've just stopped on the edge of the big open area and we're glassing, using binoculars, checking all the bits of shade, seeing if there were any creatures of interest out there. And unfortunately, we didn't find... Oh, you found one? No. Oh, Dave. So unfortunately, no luck just yet. Now you can actually see that the ground looks a little bit greener than it did a week or so ago. That little bit of rain seems to be a slight green tinge over the plain. But why don't we go keep checking the rest of Cheetah Plains and keep our fingers crossed that the Styx Pride's going to be back shortly. Hi, Kim Kim. Kim Kim is wondering, has there ever been a fire out here in the wild? Yes. Regularly, and sometimes the fires are on purpose. People put them in, they're called controlled burns. This year I don't think we're in much risk of a fire. There's nothing to burn because of the drought, so you need grass to burn, and grass is not something we have plenty of at the moment. But here you can see what I was talking about, how there is just the slightest little green flush coming up after the little bit of rain we had. You can see some fresh shoots coming through on the grass. Okay, there's our first bird of the sunset safari, the crowned lapwing. Hello, little guys. Quite pretty little ones. Oh, noisy. Oh, I wonder if they've got a nest around here. They're all behaving like that. And what he's trying to do is lead me away from the nest. Right? They are quite funny. This was the bird we decided James was most like. Just from the way it moves, the noise it makes. can almost see James doing his exercise at the moment, running around quarantine. I think Dave's enjoying the joke more than anyone else. He's cackling away behind me. So they're ground nesting birds. Their nest is a little depression in the sand, and their eggs are incredibly camouflaged. Speckled eggs, but speckled in all the colours of the ground. So they look like little pebbles almost. Well, let's leave the lapwings. Bye, James. We'll see you tomorrow. Oh, oh, where did it go? No, that's the same bird. There was another bird I just saw as we drove off. That's the same species. Oh, it's gone. It took off. So while we take off towards Cheetah Plains Pan, let's go back to Jamie and those wonderful Ellies.
And Jerry has sent you back across to us, somewhat taking me by surprise. I'm sorry, I was a mid-sip of water. It was entirely my fault. And we have some elephants still with us in the drainage line. Unfortunately, this is pretty much the best view that we've got. The rest of the herd has moved into the very, very thick vegetation of the river system. And we've just been enjoying the peace of this afternoon's sighting. Thoroughly enjoyable to just sit here in the winter sunlight and watch them go about their afternoon business. I think, however, unless they decide to pop back out onto the road once again, I think it's time for us to leave them and go off in search of different things, perhaps a separate herd of elephants wandering about Buffelshoek Dam. I'm still waiting to hear, by the way, because one of the vehicles has gone on to Buffelshoek. I'm still waiting to hear whether or not they find lions at Tambuti Dam. I'm really hoping that they do, but I've been too embarrassed to call in case it's a rock. If I'd seen them in person, it would be one thing, but to call it in on the Game Drive channel might be a bit more tricky. And Harry, just before we move on from our elephants completely, welcome to the Sunset Safari. And I'm actually going to go quite slowly as we drive along here, just in case these lionesses have come back and are just resting off in the thick vegetation here. Who knows, we might spot another lion log. But just before we leave the topic of our elephants, Harry would like to know, because he's heard that, or we have said that elephants pick up the low rumbles in their feet, and would like to know if their feet are very, very sensitive. Well, Harry, it is absolutely true. Yes, they have special nerve receptors on the bottom of their feet for those vibrations. However, the rumblings that we heard, they would have heard like we heard them with their ears. So it's only really for those really deep, low-frequency calls, the calls that we can't even hear, that they will be using their feet to receive those calls for. So they will have very, very sensitive feet. It doesn't mean that their feet are sensitive to pain or anything else like that, because obviously they can't be if they're wandering around, stepping on thorns and whatever else it is that they happen to find. See, this is where the lion den is. The elephants have already walked through here today, just judging by the tracks coming out. Lion den is at the Leadwood, but it's in this section of drainage line, which is very, very difficult to get into. It's pure Tambuti. It's a wall of Tambuti trees, and whilst we are happy to off-road under certain circumstances, driving over Tambuti trees and things like baby leadwoods, whatever else that happens to be in this particular patch, they're very sensitive, and they are there to help prevent erosion. If we go and squash them flat, we're going to do some serious damage to the ecosystem of this drainage line, which is already eroding in places. The soil is washing away. We don't want to add to that particular situation. So there is the leadwood that Herbert has been using as a marker. What we often do when working with a tracker, Herbert, by the way, is our tracker. What we often do, or what he will often do, is he will say to us 50 meters south of the big Jackalberry on Gowrie Cutline, or in this case, just opposite the big leadwood on Gowrie Cutline. Instead of having signposts that say things, we have markers that are things like big trees. Big old trees that everybody knows are there. You get very familiar with an area. Ooh. It's okay, Wendy. So it's basically the equivalent of saying turn left at the petrol station, or gas station, I suppose, would be a better translation. But out here in the African bush, it's turn right at the leadwood, or go east from the leadwood, and you'll find a lion in there somewhere. And a real lion. 3 real lions, 3 tiny little lions, not lion logs. I'm going to go and check out Buffelshoek Dam. Perhaps the animals are tiring of what's left of the muddy water holes that remained after the rain. And while we go and investigate that, let us find out where Brent is on Cheetah Plains and what he's up to.
We're right on the eastern side of Cheetah Plains, and just having a good look over this open area. I'm also going to go down towards where Dave is showing now my favorite part of Cheetah Plains, and the area around Buff Pan. It has been very quiet. The Styx lions are just out of our reach, but who knows, maybe Nkanyeni might be within our reach. I haven't even seen old Ginormous Ginorman today. If you're not sure who Ginormous Ginorman is, Ginormous Ginorman is a gnu. He's a gnu that resides on Cheetah Plains normally. But with this water, he might not be where he normally is. And then old Ginormous has got a rival who lives in this area, and his name is Normal Norman. Yeah, very, very quiet, not an Impala in sight. Ha! There is one Impala in sight. Well, there could be more than one, but there's one I spotted. There are a few more Impala. Well, at least it's a living creature. And a kudu. Hello, kudu. A beautiful female kudu browsing upon Acacia gerardi. Now, when looking for a leopard, seeing all these guys so relaxed, not the best. And now, to the left of her, atop a termite mound, keeping a lookout, is another kudu. using the high ground to her advantage. And a second canoe. And those solar panels you see in the background are for the water pump. Oh dear, I was off at speed for no particular reason, just for the joy of it. Okay, well, the kudos and Impala have moved into the thickets. Let us move on past the thickets. Hi, Michael. Michael would like to know, when was the last time we saw a cheetah and cheetah plains? Michael, I don't know, I'm afraid. I really don't. I haven't seen one in it seems to be an age. The last cheetah I actually saw was on Juma, on foot. Unfortunately, it ran away from me. Mike, so I'm just going to be on the game drive for a quick second. Mike, Cheetah Plains, if you copy me, go northern channel, please. Mike, confirm you on the east, you were talking about the Styx Pride? Side-striped jackal. Sorry, guys. Copy, Mike. I went past there. I could see the Mala vehicle was still inside Mala. If you're interested, there are side-striped jackal on Kalkul. Okay. FM. Look at that. So awesome. Copy, thanks. They are such cool little creatures. Oh, sorry guys, everyone seems to want to talk to me now. Standing by. Copy, thanks very much. Jamie, I'm in Cheetah Plains. Jamie's probably go have a look. She's at Buffalo's Dam now. Sorry about that, guys. Everyone seemed to want to talk to me at the same time. Here we go, side-striped jackal. Now, out of the two jackal species, this is the more omnivorous. Look at that. So they eat lots of different fruits, insects, as well as rodents, and they're all very, very seldom will they scavenge off a carcass, but they sometimes do. Looks like they're heading off into the bush there. Pair of side-striped jackal. Well, it seems like we can't find the big carnivores, but we found 2 small carnivores, so maybe we should make it a small carnivore safari. Wouldn't that be nice to see serval or caracal, maybe? Now, unfortunately, we cannot see the jackals anymore. They have moved off into the thicket. So we're going to go keep checking around this northern section of... Dave, stop touching my jacket. Bring it back here. Dave's moving my jacket. Leave my jacket alone. This northern section of Cheetah Plains. I'm also hoping for quarantine. This is the area he's been frequenting between Heron and Coral. And also, hopefully a bit later, as Styx Pride decide to come out. But I've just heard it sounds like they're on a kill there. So it's unlikely they're going to move through today, but maybe tomorrow. Well, we continue to check the northern edge of Cheetah Plains. Jamie has arrived at the Buffalo's Hook waterhole.
We have indeed arrived at the Buffalo's Hook waterhole, finding it's occupied by its usual resident, the hippopotamus that is very often here, and his friend, the terrapin, that is also very often on top of him, using him as a nice little support base to sit and sun itself whenever the water gets that little bit too cold. Now we see this hippopotamus here pretty much every single day. I don't know if it's my imagination, but his eye on his left, well, on his right, our left, seems to be really red. Am I imagining that? I don't think so. Perhaps it's just the way that he's blinking and closing it. I wonder whether or not he hasn't been slightly injured in some kind of fight with another hippopotamus. Now, he's here pretty much every single day, using Buffalo's Hook as the only place, well, it is the only place that he can come and seek shelter from the hot afternoon sun. And every now and again he'll give a barrel roll, and the white splodges around his shoulder suggest that it's not just his terrapin friend that has been utilizing him as a resting point, but also perhaps a bird as well that has decided to leave him a token of their gratitude in allowing them to sit on his back. There seemed to be something really strange about his eye. Maybe it's just the angle and the way that the sun is hitting it. Buffalo's Hook Dam, I wouldn't call it much enhanced by the rain that we had the other day. A couple of nights ago, for our newer viewers, we had about 15 or so mils of rain, which was very much welcomed by all of the animals and the human beings out here, since we have, I think the last time we saw rain of that to that extent was around March sometime, which is relatively normal for our dry season, but it's factored on top of a very dry, wet season as well, and it was a pleasure to have a little bit of moisture. That being said, Buffalo's Hook Dam isn't really looking all that full. It's starting to turn muddy once again, and I wonder whether we'll see any remaining fishes that might have survived the last time that this dam dried out. Perhaps some of the catfish under the mud, perhaps we'll see them once again as this dam starts to dry out. I've just been checking really carefully in the shade. I've just had a report come through from one of the landowners that they found a kill after the sunrise safari that was finished just off Central Road along with some lion tracks, which is very, very exciting, and I was hoping perhaps the lions might decide to come and pay a visit to Buffalo's Hook Dam to have a quick drink. But if not, we're going to go and investigate wherever that kill site was and see if we can't work out where the lions have gone from there. That would definitely explain where the lions have been, if they've been hiding on a kill on the eastern boundary of Djuma. I think that might be something nice for us to go and investigate. So we shall. And welcome to Mary on our sunset safari. Mary has said, well, don't hippos live in groups? This must surely be a male, and the females live in the groups. Mary, kind of. So hippos are really quite comfortable with being gregarious in a pod. You'll even find there's a couple of large bulls in a collection of hippos. But when the water levels start to drop and space gets more limited, the bulls in particular, you are right, by the way, it is a male, the bulls in particular start to come into conflict with each other. But Mary, the reason this hippo is alone more than anything else, apart from the fact that hippos are not getting on with each other because they don't want to share what little water is left, is because all of these water holes are artificial. They were built when the Sabi Sand was opened as a game reserve, and what that meant was there were big dams where there didn't used to be big dams, and therefore there were big hippos where there didn't used to be big hippos, which has been fine in our years of plenty rainfall, but has been less fine during the drought period where they haven't been able to, or they would definitely not have survived. And what the Sabi Sand did was actually capture most of the hippopotamus in this area. Put them through passive capture, so no active capture, passive capture by putting up nets and bales of lucerne. They then transported them to a part of the country that has had far more rain and therefore has far more water for them to be at home in. So it's because there's so little water and because most of the hippo have been removed that we're only seeing one alone in the dam. It is quite common, you are right, the females will be more gregarious and it'll be more likely to see a male on his own. But to be honest with you, to be completely honest with you, the hippo dynamics of this area have been completely topsy-turvy since I arrived here. I don't know what they were like before, I can only imagine. But when I arrived here just over a year ago, this dam had far more water than it does now. It's slow, or the slow impact of this drought has been relatively terrifying to see, especially on the animals like this hippo. And unfortunately for him, that's it now. As far as I know, they're not going to remove any more hippos. That will be it for the foreseeable future. And these chaps will just have to eke out a living, or eke out a way of surviving in whatever water they can find. There are still pumped dams, though, for them to seek refuge in. For example, Red Dam on Arathusa is looking amazing. It's got lots and lots of water, the perfect hiding hole for a hippopotamus to sleep in and to shelter himself from the sun. Janet, welcome to our sunset safari. And Janet, I think, might be new to our safaris. I don't think I've heard your name before, so it's lovely to have you asking questions. Janet would like to know what our hippopotamus will generally eat. He is going to sleep his way away throughout the heat of the afternoon. Then as it starts to get dark, he's going to head out and he's going to go and eat whatever grass he can find. So hippos are pure bulk grazers. They eat grass, which does explain why they're active far more than they might be during the winter months, because they actually have to try and sustain 2.5 tons of bulk on whatever grass they can find. And I have to tell you, there's hardly any grass. There is barely anything left. If I look across now to the northern side of the dam, I actually barely see a blade of grass. So how on earth these animals are managing to survive? They're having to cover enormous distances at night to go and find grass to eat. And I imagine they're doing a little bit of browsing as well to supplement, because the trees are the only things with any nutrients left. And we've still got a little way to go. And by a little way, I mean at least 2 months before the grass starts to grow back, and it's probably going to be even longer. They're going to have to, as I said, cover enormous distances. We're going to move away from the sad state of affairs with the animals and this drought, and we're going to go and see what those lions have been up to. They have been dancing merry circles around us over the last 3 days. Let's go and see if we can't find them now. And while we do that, I believe that Brent has been hearing reports of different things on cheetah plains, but you don't have to take my word for it. You can go and hear it from him.
So the report from Cheetah Plains is that there's a starling feeding or hunting in the leaf litter It's a Cape glossy starling, very beautiful bird. There's some termites under there that he's found. What you found there, starling? It's such a striking bird with that orange eye and that iridescent colour. Be quite aggressive towards other birds, starling. And be quite almost a bird bully. We saw one of those yesterday as well. It looks like that little patch of leaves is not too interesting to the starling anymore. So let's carry on. So I've just got another report about those Styx lions in Mala. So unfortunately I'm about 90%, 95% certain that they're not going to come back across. So we're going to go now down into the western corner of Cheetah Plains, not an area we drive too often, and to see if we have any luck there. If no luck, I think we'll go try help Jamie find those dancing merry lions of Juma. You hear that calling? It's a red-crested Koran. I'm hoping it does its suicide dance. It's the right time of the year. Okay, sometimes when you start up it sets them off. Come on, take off, suicide dance, no. Well, we're going to see if we can try spot it now. Sounds like it's around that big termite mound in the distance there. There he is, I think. No, not. Stick. They can be quite tricky to spot. Nope, unfortunately not. I'm saying we're going to keep cruising around. Just check into this western sector where we don't go very often. And then, no luck, head back to the northwest. We can find that red-crested Koran on this road. It's maybe here. He's spawning somewhere in this vicinity. No, he's a bit further into the block. Well, let's continue on towards the southern boundary of Cheetah Plains, and then we're going to head west. Now, let's think. I think if we think like an animal, maybe one will pop out. While Dave and I, try think like a leopard, let's keep you guys busy with a little quiz. What should we quiz today? Ha! I've got one. What is, it's a multi-point question. In what country is the highest recorded leopard, and where exactly was that leopard recorded? What country was the highest altitude a leopard was ever recorded in, and where in that particular country? It's quite an iconic spot, so I'm sure someone out there must know that. And if you know the answers to that, hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter, country and the area that the highest ever, at the highest ever altitude a leopard was found. And also you can send your answers through to questions at wildearth.tv. While we fly to the west, Jamie's got a big bird who's doing some flying of its own.
I do have something enormous flying in the air, and Jandra is doing an incredible job of managing to keep it on your screens. I have to tell you, I don't know what it is. It is totally pale underneath. Initially I thought Martial Eagle, but Martial Eagles have brown wings underneath them when they fly over. Oh, there's two. I mean, it's definitely not a vulture species. It's very white. It's also, the sun is very bright where it is. But I couldn't tell you, I don't know which bird of prey this is. I need it to come and land. It's big. It's one of the bigger eagle species. It looked like maybe a juvenile marshal. I don't know if juvenile marshals have completely white under their wings. Oh, and it's gone. Well, if any of you have any suggestions, and perhaps you could see it. Apparently you can see it slightly better than I can. I think it's a juvenile martial eagle. It's big enough to be a juvenile martial eagle. It's definitely not an adult, because adults have brown underneath their wings. I'm relatively certain, just in terms of size. I'm also now blind. Not blind, but I've definitely been staring at the sun for too long. Oh. I'm relatively certain, though, that that was a martial. Oh, look here. Oh, sorry. They've stopped doing it. The go-away birds were having a fight, which I've never seen before. As quite as ferocious as that was. And they're still fighting. But I think that we have a winner. It's a pity we don't have Rusty's camera. Right, let's go for now. I do want to get to where this kill is, because I'm sure that if it is around here, then these lions must be too. Now, it wasn't here this morning, or if it was very well hidden. Which means that we must have missed it, or it's relatively tiny, because the person who found it was out later after the end of the sunrise safari. So it might have been something small that the lionesses caught and then ate. But I want to go and just find these lion tracks and investigate. The more I think about it, the more certain I am that was a juvenile martial eagle. I'm almost positive. Which is really nice, because we haven't been seeing all that many of them. It's the largest eagle species that you could see out here. And they are really, when we say they're enormous, they are enormous. And over 6 foot wingspan, more than 6 feet. I think it's actually closer to 7 feet. And they are capable of tackling small antelope. They've been known to catch baby impala and steenbok. There was even a recorded case where one caught and broke the back of an adult impala. Couldn't carry it away and couldn't really feed on it, but did attempt it. And then there was the rumor, and I'm still convinced it was a little bit of a tall story, but there is a story about a martial eagle taking a small child as well, or attempting to grab a small child. They are very big birds of prey. Definitely, if you're an owner of a small dog, definitely an animal to watch out for. I know I spent the first few weeks of Lexi's young life, Lexi, my Weimaraner, desperately watching her and dashing to stand over her protectively whenever an eagle flew over. At 30 kilograms now, she's a little bit too big for even a martial eagle to think about tackling, but those first few weeks when she was bumbling about as a puppy were terrifying. The first animal she ever saw out here was an elephant. She was 8 weeks old. She was so young that she didn't even register this enormous thing next to the vehicle. She just wanted to go back to sleep. Shannon is absolutely not a dumb question. Shannon is watching in Ohio and has asked what I think is a very salient question, which is, why do most of the animals out here have brown or dark colored eyes? It's because most of the animals out here are daytime or diurnal animals that we get to see. Look at the eyes of a leopard or a lion or a hyena. They might still be brown, but they're more with a yellowish tinge. They're much lighter than the eyes of something like an elephant or a hippopotamus. Well, not a hippopotamus, that's a bad example. An elephant or a buffalo or any of the antelope species. And it's just because it reduces glare. So people with pale eyes can attest to the fact that you often have to squint into the sun on a bright day, whereas people with slightly darker eyes have an easier time of it, because dark absorbs light and white reflects it. This is one of their favorite patches. According to all reports, this kill, I don't even know what this kill is or was, but it's somewhere just ahead of us, and that there were lion tracks all over the show. There's lion tracks going that way, old, but they've been driven over. So Sharon, not a silly question at all. It's to reduce glare. It's the same reason why cheetah have the dark stripes that run down the sides of their face, and lions and leopards have the light stripes underneath their eyes to reflect light. It depends on whether your animal is a daytime or a nocturnal animal. Even bush babies have almost orange eyes when you look closely at them. So a lot of the nocturnal species have slightly lighter eyes. But then you also get the cases of pigmentation or a problem with the genetic code in an animal, or rare mutations that produce things like leucistic lions, which is the white lions. And they're not fully albino, so they don't have the red eyes and the lack of pigment completely, but they get blue eyes. And there is a reason that it is so rare, and that's because it comes at a huge disadvantage for that particular animal. Albino animals that are born out here tend to die relatively quickly. Their skin is too sensitive to the sun, and they often go blind at the same time as their skin is damaged by the sun. But leucistic animals have just enough pigment to maybe be okay, but it still comes at a tremendous advantage. So leucistic is a more lightish colored animal, but not fully albino with the red eyes. Okay, right. Slow down a little bit here, just in case it's just to give me a chance to find another lion log, basically. They might have moved off ever so slightly from the kill because they've got cubs with them. They don't want to keep the cubs around. I think that's one of the big reasons why the Nkumas haven't gone to those dead elephants, is because they've got cubs with them and they don't want to drag them into a situation that is inevitably going to attract hyenas. Although, with all five lionesses there, they would be capable of protecting them. Okay, so in theory, the kill was somewhere here, I believe. Okay, well, everybody help to keep our eyes peeled. I don't see a lion track and I don't see any off-road tracks. Maybe the best thing to look for is some vultures in the sky. That might help us. Or vultures in trees. But if the carcass is finished, then they might have all set off again. And hello to Jilly in New York, and thank you so much for sending through your question about which animals are the most intelligent or the best problem solvers. And Jilly, it's really lovely to hear from you. The answer is the elephants are probably, of all of the animals, the most intelligent out here. I don't think I'm biased when I say that, just because they're one of my favorites. I really believe as though they are exceptionally bright, and they are known to be good problem solvers. They've got a self-awareness. They recognize their reflections in mirrors, which not many animals do. A lot of animals are inclined to attack their reflection in response to seeing an animal reflected in it. Elephants don't do that, just like dolphins and the great apes don't do that. Monkeys are very, very clever, as are baboons. A spotted hyena have intelligence levels that are, in some experiments, in their problem-solving abilities and their communication abilities, close to, if not equal to, that of chimpanzees. I think this kill was on Torchwood. That makes the most sense. That's why there's off-road tracks here. Because those are definitely not ours. Off-road vehicle tracks. Okay. Perhaps that is what they were attempting to describe to me. The fact that... Oh, and there's the lion tracks coming south. Let me try and... Oh, sorry, there's hyena tracks. Let me try and reposition to show you. And also it gives me a chance to search for where these lions went after this. So there's the lion track right next to, although that's the leopard track. Ah, we've got confusion. That's what we've got. Okay. There's Brent's footprint. Sort of unmistakable. Sorry, Jilly, we'll get back to your question in a moment. That is Brent's very large track. There's not that many people. Quite a lot bigger. And here's the track that we were looking at. Okay. And here's the track with its toes. This is not a lion. It's a leopard. It's the male leopard that Brent was tracking this morning. Oh, perhaps I'm incorrect. Perhaps I'm making assumptions. I can see where Brent has marked the last tracks. We'll carry on a little bit further. I can almost guarantee the kill was somewhere in here that attracted all of the vultures. And I do just want to double check around that junction just to see whether or not there are any cat tracks. But before I do, to answer Jilly's question, hyenas in experiments in terms of problem solving have been shown to have some of the best skills of any of the animals out here. Contrary to lions, which lions are great and instinctive animals, but they are not the world's greatest problem solvers. They're not built for that sort of thing. They certainly have a degree of intelligence in terms of their communication and their planning for hunting other animals and coordinating those hunts. I don't see. I know Brent did mention lion tracks in this area. I'm just going to keep double checking. I'm actually going to try and get hold of him. Let's see if the game drive comms will work for getting hold of him on channel 1. Brent. Nope. Doesn't sound like we're reaching him. Oh, there we go. Never mind. Where was your last set of Impala and Konzor? Were they on cheetah cut line somewhere? So the question I'm asking Brent is, where was the last that he had a lion track rather than a leopard track? Where was the last point that he had a lion track this morning? Because I just want to make sure that there wasn't any confusion. But where were the last lion tracks that you had this morning? Sorry. Copy that, thank you. They were further north. There was a little bit of confusion there between leopard tracks and lion tracks. No problem. And we were called into. I think that kill was the male leopards. Oh, goodness. I think that kill belonged to the male leopard, not to the lions, and that makes so much more sense in terms of that leopard coming out of that area and lions being a little bit further to the north. I don't know what it was, though, so if it was a buffalo, then that would be a different story. So, Jilly. Intelligent problem solvers. Apparently honey badgers are very, very bright and are good at solving problems. That's just something that I've heard in terms of the different animals. And I've met a semi-tame honey badger before, and he definitely was very good. He wasn't tame, he was being rehabilitated into the wild. He was very entertaining to watch, sort of figure out problems and solve opening jars and so on. He was very good at that. And I imagine, I'm not sure about wild dogs. I'm not sure how good at problem solving they are. I think that sort of top categories would be elephant, hyena, primates, but baboons and monkeys, honey badgers. I can't think of anything or any of the other animals that have quite the same level of problem solving abilities that they do. So Brent said the tracks were a little bit further north, coming into the block around here, and that they were heading towards Buffelshoek Dam. So I think it might be nice for us to just go back and check more carefully around the shaded areas and on the eastern side of the dam to see whether or not those lions have decided to pop up. And speaking of lions and Brent and his tracking ability, let's head back over to Cheetah Plains and to find out how his explorations of the east are going.
Well, I've just got a an update that I'm a little bit confused on, but I'm just going to go follow up on it anyway. Apparently there are tracks of a female leopard and 2 tiny cubs coming from Nkoro into Cheetah Plains around here, but I haven't seen any tracks. I've been checking very carefully, and apparently it's Tundi and her new litter. So we were on our way back towards Juma, and I got that message. So I just wanted to come have another quick look here, but I'm seeing lots of kudu around, I'm seeing Impala, so I'm not actually not so sure. Hello. I'm just going to have a quick look on that softer sand there. See if that tiny little scuff mark is what I think it is. I'm hoping it is what I think it is. I'm sure you guys are hoping that that tiny scuff mark is what I think it is as well. If we know what we're saying now, I might have confused myself slightly. So it's still quite hard after the rain. Just go look at my scuff mark again. Oops, my door was open, that's naughty. Now it is what I think it is. What do you think I think it is? Dave?
Leopard track.
It is a leopard track. It's a female leopard track, but it's very, very difficult to see. Let's go for one last look around 3 in a row pan. If I don't get anything there, I might just throw the luck dice and walk from 3 in a row pan directly to where the general direction is. If she's taking the cubs in here, I'm not sure how old they are. She could be taking them to a kill, or she could be stashing them in here. So either way, yeah, I think it's worth taking a gamble. And strange enough, actually, thinking about it, Tundi is a leopard I've never found on foot. Well done, Manda. Manda, for that. What is the highest altitude a leopard has been recorded at? It was in Tanzania on Mount Kilimanjaro. A pastor who used to live there, he part of the ex-Cossack army, then became a Lutheran pastor. He's personally climbed Kilimanjaro over. He discovered the corpse of a frozen leopard on the crater rim. And it was just under 15,000 feet. Now, a lot of people, of course, said snow leopard in the Himalayas, but the snow leopard and the leopard are 2 different species. They are obviously the same family, but they are not the same species. Now we are being gazed upon by a bemused waterbuck. This is now the 3rd time we've driven past that same waterbuck. So I suppose it's allowed to give us a bit of a bemused look. But it's being bemused behind a quarry. Dave? There we go. There's the bemused waterbuck. Maybe not so bemused as saying, what are these silly creatures doing? Round and round in circles. Wait a minute. Waterbuck, I'm trying to find leopard and cubs. Give a snort if you spot them, please. so. Okay. Here's some little birds chirping about. They sound quite upset. What could have upset them? Actually, I know exactly what's upset them. This is very close to where we saw that slender mongoose earlier, so that's why the little birds are alarm calling. Let's go back and you can spot one. Okay, you got him there, Dave, yet? Okay. He's just popped. So zoom and go to the left-hand tree. Right, so center tree, I should have said. Okay, now left a bit, and that tree, now center, up, out and up, to the, down a bit. Oh, just, there we go, top left corner. Here we go. Little chin spot bat is very upset about something. I'm pretty sure that slender mongoose must be around here somewhere. So cool, so cool. No, it's not often. No, I can't. It's so small. So cool, but so small. Okay, there we go. Okay, Dave, this is going to test your camera skills. You ready? Okay. Because of the rain, sometimes animals that have very small feet leave tracks. Am I too close?
Nope.
Look at that. Look how cool that is. You can see the toes, the claws sticking through. Isn't that amazing? Now, the next conundrum, of course, is what is that creature? I know what that creature is. That's why I got so excited. It's not a creature you see tracks of very, very regularly. Now, let's think. Maybe you guys would like to guess what little critter that was that made those beautiful little footprints. If you do know, questions at wildearth.tv or hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Very, very cool little track. So we do one last dash. It's our third dash already. Once, twice, three, fourth dash past 3 in a row pan today. And it is empty as it has been the previous 3 times we have driven past here. No quarantine bathed in golden light atop a termite terrier or in a marula. Okay, come on, Tandy. Where could she be hiding? while I go try to figure out where Tundi crossed, let's go see what Jamie's been up to.
Hi guys, I just wanted to show you something amazing, which is how much green grass has come through since we've had the rain. I mean, it's not bright green, but it is really green. Now, I'm sorry, I was in the middle of talking to somebody on the Game Drive channel, so just bear with me 1 second while I finish off that conversation. Affirmative, I haven't had any luck. I'm just checking around Buffelshoek East now. Okay, copy. Anyway, it is a really sheltered patch that this particular grass is growing in. You can see it's where water runoff comes flowing down into Buffelshoek Dam. A gully, or what we in South Africa call a donga. I don't think the word donga is translatable throughout away from South Africa. But yes, some green growth coming through in terms of the grasses, which is really, really a pleasant surprise, because I didn't think we were going to see any as a result of that rain. I thought that it was a little bit, because of the timing, this time of year, I really didn't think we'd see much in the way of change, at least to the grass side of things. But we seem to be. It'll be happy news for animals like that hippo that we saw at Buffelshoek Dam. But now we are investigating where these lions have gone. Brent said that at least he had one set of tracks coming into this area. This is where I saw the lioness, in the direction that I saw that lioness with the 2 cubs dash past our elephant sighting yesterday morning. And I'm hoping she might have decided to stash them somewhere here. I'm checking really carefully for tracks. And lovely to hear from you, Nancy in Texas, on the subject of our grasses. Now, Nancy wants to know about whether or not our animals eat just the tops of the grass, or whether there are some animals that uproot them, and whether or not overgrazing is ever a problem out here. And Nancy, first of all, yes, there are animals that rip up the grass completely, roots and all, particularly at the moment. Animals like, the first thing that springs to mind is an elephant. Elephants have been, if they aren't busy feeding on the trees, then they're busy digging up the root systems of the various grass and smaller plant species in order to get the nutrition that's stored in the root systems. So they have been doing that relatively regularly. Most of our animals, though, nibble the tops of the grass, and obviously grass has evolved to be eaten. So for the last however many thousands of years, the way that grass has developed is it's got growth points. Grass has evolved to be eaten. So for the last however many thousands of years, the way that grass has developed is it's got growth points at different points along the stem. And so whenever it's eaten, the growth points that sit below it will just resupply that grass, hopefully in the same way that's going to happen with a certain set of sunflower seeds in the camp, or sunflower plants, because that is a very, very sad situation where poor Brian lost his sunflowers to the bushbuck. We could potentially have a problem with overgrazing. However, it's important to remember that this grass has evolved, as I said, to be eaten and to be utilized. This whole area has evolved, the balance has evolved with the animals eating them. So the plants, the trees get eaten by the elephants to stop the woody layer from dominating, and the grass species have been evolved to be eaten in order to propagate. And the only way you get a major problem with overgrazing, which is what we're seeing now, is if you have a drought and you have water holes. So the animal action, the hoof action, backwards and forwards to get to the water hole, combined with the overutilization of an area, can in turn overgraze and overutilize spots around waterholes. And in turn, what that means is it takes that area a really long time to recover, because the grass species holds the soils in place. And as soon as you get your first big rains, and this is going to happen all around Buffelshoek Dam, as soon as you get your first big rains, if it comes down in a torrential downpour, it's going to wash away the top soil layer. And that topsoil layer has been developed over hundreds of years, slowly breaking down the rock beneath the surface of the soil, and then getting the nutrients that are needed. And then the pioneer, the tough grasses start off, they secure the soil, then you get the slightly more palatable and slightly more vulnerable grass species growing, the perennial plants, the perennial grasses, rather than annual grasses, and so on. So there is a very delicate balance. You see, it's not just there. I'm sorry, I'm very excited by this, because I'm looking now down onto the ground, and I know it's not much. I really do. But look at that. Bright emerald green grass shoots coming through. That really is wonderful to see. Just goes to show how resilient an area is. Absolutely lovely. I'm very impressed and not a little bit surprised, but very special to see. We might even be getting flowers again relatively soon. And then, Nancy, there's also different types of species utilizing the different types of plants' parts. So zebra tend to crop the top part of the grasses. Wildebeest, with their slightly more nimble lips, will go and nibble around at the base of the shoots, where the most nutrition is, short of uprooting the plant. Now, that's why you often hear of that symbiotic relationship between wildebeest and zebra. But it doesn't mean they can't exist without each other. Most definitely not. And it's one that I think is slightly overemphasized in the basic guiding books, the story that wildebeest and zebra are always together because they eat different parts of the same plant. You don't really see them together all that often out here. But it is a useful example of different animals utilizing different parts of the grass. No sign of our lions around Buffelshoek Dam. In fact, no sign of anything around Buffelshoek Dam, apart from the new bright green grass shoots, which is really exciting. I have not seen all that many. The antelope aren't around, and that's just because there's still puddles of water on the ground. And I think we're going to start journeying a little bit further to the west. I've also spent a lot of time lurking around this area in order to, especially in the evenings, in the sort of hope that all of the aardvark holes that are in this area will translate one day into an aardvark sighting. Because of course I'm not famous for, but it's becoming a little bit of an in-joke, because I've never ever seen an aardvark in the wild. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is. I have worked in places where I've gone on aardvark captures before, and I've just never managed to see them. I've always just missed out on seeing them. How's that backlighting going to work? Let's see. Beautiful. Sorry, we'll go back to talking about aardvark in the moment. For now, we've got this lovely waterbuck ram. He is absolutely huge. Not quite as fluffy as some of the other waterbuck that we've seen, but the backlighting does give you a nice idea of just how furry these creatures truly are. lots and lots of waterbuck around. How many did we count this morning in that herd? It was 15. There's some big groups of waterbuck. And he must be loving the bright green grass shoots, perhaps rejoicing in the fact that he has been one of the first antelopes to discover this. I often wonder whether or not the animals know that rain means fresh food, or if they just take whatever they can get and don't make the connection. I think that they must. We've got some old scarring. We've got a lovely view of this waterbuck bull, but Brent's antelope are doing something highly entertaining.
Look at this incredible dust and Impala rams. They were all a second ago chasing one poor female, and they got a bit confused. They didn't realize mating season's over. But what they have done is create some spectacular visuals for us with that sun and the dust and the Impalas. Come on, chase them again. Make some more dust, guys. It's literally absolute pandemonium going on a few seconds ago. All these males chasing one female. All calm now. Heavily backlight on those Impala. Beautiful big herd of Impala. But it looks like all the pandemonium is over, and they've just gone back to feeding. There's about 40 around us at the moment. Come on, something spark you into chasing again. Amazing how much dust. Oh, here we go. I'm going to go at it again. Boys will be boys. Heard some of those coughs. Just going to move off the road. There's a car coming. I want to cause a traffic jam. Now, what probably happened is that they picked up the wrong scent from that female and literally sent this whole group of males into an absolute tiz. I think there might be one poor female who wasn't impregnated during the rut. Okay, well, it's all over now. Pity we couldn't show you. So we're going to keep moving, and we've got to go through the Mulwanini shortly. So we might lose signal, but stay with us till we get a bit closer. So I think I finally caught you guys on a track. We had dwarf mongoose, a porcupine, and civet, and none of those were correct. Oh. So back to the drawing board. One of them is in the right area, right family, but none of those are the particular individual. So as we're about to descend into the Mulwanini River system, and our signal gets a bit iffy, while you ponder what track that could possibly be, let's go back to Jamie.
I wonder what track that is. I'm curious now to find out. Of course, I can't see it from driving about on the back of Wendy, but I'm very, very curious to see if I would get it. Sounds like it might be one of the tricky ones that Brent has pulled out of the hat, so to speak. I've done a full circuit of this area. I can't, there's been so much vehicle traffic, I can't find one track to guide me in the right direction. I've got Brent's instructions that they were somewhere here, going in here, but I honestly cannot find a single revealing footprint in the dust to tell me where to go double checking. I might move on for a little bit and start moving along for Central. Perhaps that male leopard that Brent had tracks of this morning might pop out somewhere there. I'm also very curious to see which particular male leopard it is. We saw Tingana 2 days ago, exactly 2 days ago, when we popped out at Red, or he popped out at Red Dam actually, to say hello to us all. It felt like it had been forever since we last saw him. And he was looking hungry. He actually, to me, Tingana looked as though he'd lost. Tingana's a dominant male leopard in this area, by the way. And to me, he looked as if he was not just hungry, he looked as if he'd lost muscle tone around his shoulders and his neck. And he did have a little bit of a limp. Apparently he's had a limp for a long time. I've definitely seen the limp a couple of times in the last few sightings that I've had of him. It's Impala. I also got quite excited. There's just something reddish and cat-sized walking across the road, but it's an Impala very far away. But yes, back to Tingana. He just seems to have been a bit down on his luck recently. But perhaps this is him now, whose tracks have come out to Cheetah Cut Line and moved back into Djuma. And speaking of Tingana, which of course means the shy one, and we've been speaking of the Nkuhuma lionesses and the Birmingham boys and Karula, Lily would like to know how we go about naming the animals, how we go about coming up with the names of the animals. This idle is set too high on Wendy. Going to give that a little bit of a once-over later. So Lily, the answer to that particular question is it's usually a communal effort amongst the various guides. The pride names are something that have been decided quite a long time ago. So the Nkuhumas, apparently the story goes, are called the Nkuhumas because they were first seen coming in from Kruger underneath an Nkuhuma or a brown ivory tree. And I think they were nicknamed that by the guides at the time. Leopard naming tends to be a bit more of a controversial issue. Not controversial, but there's different approaches to it. In some areas, the first people to find the cubs get the naming rights. In others, it is an honor given to the longest standing guide or ranger in that particular working team in that area. And then that sort of works downwards. So the highest ranking guide will get it, and then down the ranks and so on. In this particular area, the approach that we've been following since I started working here is to do it by democracy. So each of the lodges that get to see those particular leopards will put suggestions forward, and it will be voted on, and then that will either be passed or whichever name is best will be chosen. Generally, we wait until the leopards are a year old before they are named, given their official names, just because their mortality rate is so high before then. However, we have named Karula's cubs before that, since they have become such popular characters of the show, and we didn't want them to be given nicknames that then became very confusing for people watching across the world in terms of which leopards were which is sort of what happened with the young Sindile. So it is a democratic process, naming the leopards. And it's something that's done in attempts to make reference to their characters. Karula means the peaceful one. And you do have to spend a little bit of time with the individual cats to get to know their different natures. Most of the time, you don't name individual lions in a lion pride. But that's something that we've started doing, particularly with the Nkuhumas, because we've spent so much time with them. So in that case, it's actually, this is more a wild earth naming than it is any kind of official standpoint from the other lodges. The same applies to our hyena names. Those are completely names of our own for us and the viewers of Safari Live. And none of the other lodges will recognize them or call them by those names. And the same applies to the elephants. We generally don't give each and every elephant a name, which would be impossible. But those characters that we do see on a regular basis, then we do give them a name because it's easy to refer to them and to talk about their background in that way. I'm also hoping as it starts to get a bit cooler that Karula might pop out, because she performed a mysterious disappearing act this morning, or last night. Her tracks didn't pop out onto any of the roads, which leaves me convinced she must be sitting in that drainage line still, where she had the kill, in the Mulwati itself, just hidden away somewhere. And of course you could drive within 50 meters of a leopard, and unless it is sitting upright or flicking its tail, you could miss it completely. Just watching these Franklin, they look like they were about to have a bit of a fight, but they seem to have changed their minds. Perhaps it was just a miscoordination of movements. One landed on top of the other one, but I think it was an accident. And some crested Franklin for us. Okay. Sorry guys, I was just listening to the Game Drive channel. Mike's just calling in a hippopotamus that is out of water, but unfortunately it is on Torchwood. Obviously they have their own resident hippopotamus in that area as well. Okay, decision time. Are we going to go left down Inyala Road South, or are we going to go right along Inyala Road North? I'm really not sure which. I don't actually think anybody's driven Hyena Road, which also might be a very good starting point, since that's where we last saw the lioness with the middle set of cubs disappearing into yesterday morning. And while I decide whether to go left or right, it seems as though Brent and myself, thinking along similar lines, he's popped into the Mulwati drainage line to go and see, I imagine, whether or not that male leopard or Karula have popped out somewhere there. And let's go and join him on the back of Rusty through a river.
So we're in that Mulwati riverbed, and I'm just checking very carefully. I did drive here this morning, so I'm trying to see if there are any leopard tracks on top of where I drove. And that would be very nice. Give us a good chance of possibly finding one. This is ideal leopard country around here. Especially if you've got cubs, there's lots of good spots to hide them, lots of trees, lots of thickets. Good food sources around here, Nyala, bushbuck, Impala. Hi, Marsha. Marsha's wondering, do Impala mate throughout the year, or is it seasonal? They are one of our seasonal breeders, Marsha, and they've just finished mating. It's normally March, sometimes early March, normally April, May, and then they're going to give birth.
And back across to us in Nyala Road South, as poor Brent has lost signal completely in the Mulwati drainage line. And hopefully he will be back up and running very shortly. I'm sorry, I'm just distracted by this weeping wattle tree. It has been absolutely, not quite massacred, but close to massacred by the elephants that have moved through this area, targeting one of the few trees with properly green leaves left in the area. And around it lies the debris of that feeding on. Also gives me a nice opportunity to just stop and listen. One thing I've noticed about the elephants while they're eating this weeping wattle is they are... Oh goodness, sorry, I put my jacket around my earpiece. I'm all zipped up inside, zipped up inside me, so I can't get out. There we go. The one thing I've noticed a lot with them eating the weeping wattle trees is that they're not concentrating so much on the leaves, which aren't very nutritious at all, but they are spending a great deal of time, if we drag this bit over here, they are spending a lot of time stripping away the bark. This is the end result when you next see an elephant. Get off, there we go. Next time you see an elephant put the branch in one side and then they sort of twist around with their trunk, and this one's quite heavy so I can't do it with one hand. They kind of eat away the bark and it comes out the other side completely stripped of whatever cambium layer it has left. And it just keeps going, and they make it look so easy, but it's actually quite difficult to do. Obviously, I'm not going to try and do it with my teeth, but just in terms of balancing this end. But I suppose having a tusk also helps. So they're after this strip of wood. This, by the way, is the same tree that Ryan used on his interview drive to make string out of. He ended up making a bracelet by stripping away this layer, but he chose a young one. Oh no, it wasn't, sorry, it wasn't. It was a terminalia, my mistake. It works as well with weeping wattles, is actually where I was going to go with this. He chose the terminalia. It does work with weeping wattles as well as knob thorns. They're obviously desperate at this point because generally elephants avoid the weeping wattle trees. They tend not to have that much in the way of nutrition. And that weeping wattle is going to be fine, but most of its main stem is broken. We've still got parts of it intact, so it will survive the meal of the elephants. We decided to go left, by the way, down in Nyala Road South. I'm starting to get lion cub deprivation now. What's it? Withdrawal. I'm having withdrawal symptoms because I haven't seen the lion cubs in about 3 days. And I haven't seen the oldest set of cubs in what feels like forever. Has probably only been a week, but it feels longer. And I can't wait to find them again to see how much they've grown. I saw Karula's tracks, but it was my imagination. It was just a waterbuck. And lots of fresh elephant tracks as well, which is good, because this morning we were talking about the fact that we were feeling slightly abandoned by our elephant herds. I don't know where they've been going or what they've been up to, but they have just disappeared. The elephants that we saw earlier this afternoon are the first elephants I've seen in well over 24 hours, and it feels as though the place goes from teeming with elephants to having hardly any elephants left. Stay. Oh. It was a brave choice. It was a brave and risky decision, and it did not yield any results except for the twitch of some ears behind the trees of a grey duiker. Just a little tail twitching in the distance. So today is Small Antelope Day. Unfortunately, Catterday, not yet, but Catterday hasn't gone according to plan today, and it has turned instead into Small Antelope Day, because I'm pretty sure I've seen more duiker and steenbok today than I have the entire week combined. It seems as though Brent has got signal once again. Let's find out if he's still in the Mawati and what his plans are from there.
I am indeed still in the Mawati River. Just double checking. We're a bit further to the south from where Krula had a kill, so I just want to double check a track there. Nope. Come on, Queenie, where are you hiding? So we haven't seen tracks of her anywhere, which leads me to believe she might just be snoozing somewhere in the Mawati River system. Now, it's nice, it's cool, there's lots of little puddles around. There's a duiker running across, disappearing. So it's not a good sign when you're looking for a leopard. Off it goes. And we're almost to the end of our Mawati adventure, as that there is a large tree that is blocked away, but never fear. Hold on, Dave. Oh, we're gonna make it. Oh, so close. Oh, that was it. You need a bit of speed in the sand to get up the hill. Maybe we'll try again. Let's get a bit of a run up. Do you think we're gonna make it, Dave? I'm not so sure. That sand looks quite loose. Let's go. Here we go. So I'll hint that the track was definitely not from a porcupine, and it was definitely not from a civet. It was definitely not from a dwarf mongoose, but something that shares a common ancestor with a dwarf mongoose. Oh, hello, little crested francolins. I know Jamie tried to show you some that disappeared. Ours seem to be a little bit more forgiving. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, there they are. It's always good to have a listen. Stop, switch off. Off go the francolin. They're going to find a spot to roost quite shortly. Even though they're ground feeding birds, they will sleep in trees. Too dangerous to sleep on the ground. Anyway, of our little Franklins. Hello, Marsha. Marsha says, well, since you're on the topic of birds, how many eagle species do you get in your reserve? Well, we have migrant eagle species and resident eagle species, Marsha. So of our resident eagle species that are here for the whole year, we have, what do we have? Let's think. We'll start with the biggest one, Martial eagle. Martial, as in similar spelling to martial law. Not, hey Marsh, what's cracking? Martial eagle, that's the biggest. It's got a wingspan of over 2 meters. And what else? African hawk eagle. So we're on 2, Bateleur, 3, brown snake eagle, 4, tawny eagle, 5. You have the possibility. I've never seen one on Juma, but they do. I have seen in other parts of Sabi Sands, a black-breasted snake eagle. So what were we on there now? Martial, Bateleur, brown snake, tawny, black-breasted snake eagle, crowned eagle along the rivers. Crowned eagle, so we're on 6. I'm trying to think now. I think that's. No, long-crested eagle has been recorded in the Sabi Sands as well, so that's 7. Oh, I'm trying to make sure I don't forget any resident eagle species. I think that's all. I've got all the residents that stay in South Africa year-round. Migratory eagle species, different story. Warburgs, lesser spotted, booted, so we're at 10. Missing any. Maybe I'm missing 1 or 2, so between 10 and 12, I would say, Marsha. Steppe eagle, there we go, 11. So the Sabi Sands Game Reserve is made up of a whole bunch of smaller properties. Michael is wondering how many different reserves make up the Sabi Sands. So Michael, just remember there's some commercial reserves and there's some non-commercial reserves. So of the commercial reserves, we're on Juma, there's Cheetah Plains, Nkoro, Arathusa, Chitwa, Sibambili, Elephant Plains, that's in the north. Let's drop down one. And you've got Mala Mala, Londolozi, Singita, so 10. Are we more than 10? I think we're 10. Ulasaba, Dulini, Exeter. What else is in the west? Savannah. Might be missing one around there somewhere. And okay, let's go further south. Then you got Nottons. Around 20, Sabi. 21 Lion Sands, 22 and Mkombe, 23. So those are the commercial entities that own land. We're on 23. Then we go with non-commercial reserves. And now this means the game drive vehicles can drive on them, but they don't have a lodge themselves on the reserve. Start up in the north. We've got Buffelshoek, Torchwood, Little Gowrie, Hoffman's and Nets, Shirley's, 26. This is going to take a while. Okay, now let's drop down one. Now let's drop Ottawa, 27. That side's all covered. Dudley, 28. Beaumont's 29. I think I'm missing one down that side. Kirkman's, which is another commercial one, 30. So about 30 reserves. I might have forgotten some smaller pieces. On average, I think most of the properties are around 1,000 hectares, some of them being a bit bigger. Mala Mala, by far the largest. It's around 16,000 hectares. Michael, I hope that helps. I might have forgot one or two. At least 30. Oh, I did forget another one. Now I can't remember his name. Down south. 31. Let's call it 31. Where's Karula hiding? Not a track. Did you hear that, Dave? I was correct. I thought I heard a tree being savaged. Oh, unfortunately, it's definitely not going to be the best visual. I just heard a branch breaking. And of course, they are disappearing into the Mawati River in a section where we can't drive. But there is a large grey behind. And that is what I heard. The noise of elephants feeding. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Hopefully they decide to come back out, but from the tracks I can see it looks like they've come from the open and are heading down into the thickets. Sounds like there's quite a few of them. So Mike is wondering, even though elephant bulls travel vast distances, do they ever encounter their natal herd? So the herd they were born into. Mike, it's possible. I'm pretty sure it is very, very possible that they would, in their wanderings, encounter their natal herd. But to know for sure, I don't know if anyone's ever done any studies on that. There we go. Elephants have disappeared pretty much into the thickets. So we're going to keep checking around. And I'm actually, for once, running out of deer's way to look for Karula. So I think from now on, we're going to let Dave choose which direction we go. Dave likes that idea. But then also, if we don't find anything, we can beat him with a stick and blame him for not finding any cats on Catterday.
And if we do find it?
We'll give you a pat on the back and say, well done, dangerous dish. Life's not fair, Dave. Okay, so we're coming up towards Vuyatela. Maybe those elephants will move through the Mawati and chase Karula out for us. Hi, Fiona. Fiona's wondering, what qualifications do you need to be a safari guide? And what do you study? Well, Fiona, you can study whatever you would like. I know safari guides who have studied accounting, law, art, actuarial science. What else? Oh, environment, obviously, of course, the environmental ones, wildlife management, conservation, all that type of stuff. But the one thing about being a safari guide is, as much science as it is actually not a science, it's an art. So the most important thing about being a safari guide is actually looking after your guests. You're in an entertainment business. Now, so in terms of qualifications that are legally needed or required, you need to be registered. It depends on the different countries, but you'll have to be registered with your Department of Environment and Tourism. and have to have passed some tests to say that you're suitably safe not to get people squashed by elephants. Quickly across to Jamie.
I don't believe this. We've stumbled right into the middle of a lion hunt. This buffalo just came sprinting out of the bushes, and behind them is all of the Nkahuma lionesses, or at least 3 of them, trying to track them down. This buffalo bull is fighting back, and I guess Hyena Road was the good choice, and they are hungry and determined. It's worth getting Brent here. We are on. Please don't run into me. Look at this. Look at them go. She's determinedly chasing him. She's going to wear him down. The other lionesses haven't even given her a hand there. She is racing into the bushes. And we've got 1, 2, 3 lionesses here. This is incredible. They're jogging along. Hold on.
Okay, isn't that exciting? So Jamie's found lions on the hunt. It is in a bit of a windy signal area. It's a bit of a dodgy area, so we're gonna go give her a hand in that area. Yay! Well done, Jamie! Jamie saved cat a day. Brent and Dave failed cat a day. Standing by. Oh, yay! Copy, on my way. Hold on. Up and down. But back to Jamie, she's found some signal, so we're gonna go give her a hand in that area.
Hyena Road on the eastern side. They are chasing the buffalo, are racing away. They've gone into the drainage line system. And we are going to lose signal in here, but Brent is on his way. Oh, you on there, Andre? In here. They've got it.
Inside my toilet. Okay, we're trying to get there as fast as possible. I'm just going to have to be on the radio and try not lose Dave. Jamie, on Central Junction, Gary cut line. Confirm I must come to the southern side of Hyena Road or head to the north. Hold on! Ferrari Safari. So confirm Nyala Road North. Jamie's excited, she's not kidding her mic. I can't hear her. Jamie, confirm Nyala Road North. So much excitement when you get these type of sightings. It sounds like they're actually on top of one, so hold on. Hopefully Rusty's got better signal there. Hold on, guys! Dave, you still? Oh, Dave's still there. Sorry, I'm not talking and looking at the camera. I really have to concentrate. Quickly, Jamie's got signal.
Dramatic sense. You're back. Guys, shit, they've caught the buffalo. This is not for sensitive viewers. We went black screen at the worst possible time, but the lions have caught this buffalo, and they are on its back. The two lions have got it from the back. The others are trying to help, but they cannot get round to the front. It keeps fighting back. Oh, this is incredible. This is going to be very difficult for those of you who are sensitive viewers to watch, so please turn off. The audio of this is absolutely unbelievable. I'm scared of repositioning right now, but I am going to try. Okay, we're going to reposition. I'm hoping we don't go black screen. We are right on the edge of a drainage line wall. Okay, we've got to be very, very careful here that we don't get in the way of what's happening. Jumped on the back of this buffalo. It's a very, very big bull. And there's some serious fight in him here. This could go on for an incredible period of time, and this is what the rawest version of wildlife out here is truly like. For Brent, I think so. Here comes a fifth lioness. I just need to make sure that we've got an escape route here in case this buffalo comes to us. You okay?
Okay, I've just arrived now. I can see Jamie's lights. I'm just trying to figure a way into the block. Okay, I can hear that buffalo, so now I've got my sign. Hold on. Hey, Fim. There's a very steep... So you're back across to Jamie?
Look at this. This is incredible, guys. We had to move the car out of the way. We found ourselves in a really serious position there with the buffalo running towards us. And we had to get out of his way. He is a 900-kilogram animal that is very, very frightened right now. And we found ourselves in a very difficult position. He was trying to charge the lions that were around us, and we had to move. You can see they're trying to get to that hold on the face of on the front of his face. This is incredible to witness. It's moments like these that are truly, truly both spectacular and heart-rending. They can't get onto the front of the buffalo. Brent, come back. He's fallen into the drainage. Pardon? I'm going to. Okay, we can hear Brent on his way. I cannot believe this is the way the afternoon went. This is the last thing we were expecting. He's still fighting back. He's still chasing the lionesses away. Brent is racing back towards the scene because we cannot get down here without rolling the vehicle. If you can get in from there, that'll be your best approach. And moments like these are exceptionally rare. The last time we saw a live buffalo hunt was over a year ago. And now we have the Inkahumas in action in an age-old battle that has been played out for hundreds and hundreds of years. And now they have the advantage. 3 lionesses on its back. We're going to go forward a little bit before Brent gets here. There we go. How's your view there, Jean-Andre? All of them are on top of it now. They've taken it down, and this buffalo has just lost the battle. They need to get to front of its head. They need to grab its neck or the nose. But the fact that they've got it off its feet and on its side... And now comes the difficult part. The sounds of this buffalo is absolutely heart-wrenching. And at the same time, we've become so invested in these lionesses. We know that they have 3 sets of cubs to feed. And demonstrating why the lion is the apex predator. All 5 of them working together as a cohesive unit. You can hear Brent on his way. And buffalo is still fighting to get up. But his battle is lost, and the lionesses have him. And here comes Brent around the side of the drainage line wall. I can't believe this is the way that the evening has gone. Oh, he's up! I don't believe it, he's got up. One powerful push of those legs, a desperate last struggle of a buffalo that is losing this fight. Over to Brent, who has got a different view.
So we just managed to get down here. I know this is very disturbing for some people. It looks like all the Ngoma ladies. Now, sometimes it can take a long time for a buffalo to die, but this is nature at its most raw. She's going to go for the nose hold now. That helps quicken the death. So what happens is the blood will actually flow back into that buffalo's lungs, and it'll suffocate on its own blood, but it does make it a bit quicker. You can hear that there now. And the female at the back's already started feeding. That's not uncommon either. I know this is really hard, but there's nature.
Now, guys, it seems as though Brent cannot hear final control, but we have this incredible view from up at the top of the drainage line, and I think both of us are just going to keep presenting, and we can switch between the vehicles. We've got this view from above. Oh, the sounds of this buffalo. I know this is really hard to watch. It's hard for all of us. Utterly devastating to see. And at the same time, you cannot help but admire the power of these cats and the power of their teamwork. Look at that. Absolutely incredible. As raw as it gets. Truly, truly phenomenal to witness. I have seen this go on for over an hour, but slowly but surely, this buffalo is getting weaker and weaker. Okay, guys, let's go and have a look from a different perspective, from the head of the buffalo.
Coming back to you.
Okay, look at this. We're right here. We've just repositioned to get a better view here. And you can see the lioness at the back has already started feeding. That's not uncommon. Look at that, see. She's trying really hard now to get that blood flowing into the buffalo's lungs. Oh, see, she just got kicked. So there's still... Look at that. Isn't that incredible? I know this is really sad. I'm just going to keep quiet. As I keep saying, this is nature at its most raw. Let's go back to see what Jamie's view from the top is.
And now we have things from a slightly different perspective. You can hear the desperate breathing of the buffalo. This is one of the hardest sights to witness out here, particularly with such an enormous buffalo bull. And the silence of the evening is just broken by the distress calls. Let's go and have a different look from Brent's perspective.
Maybe you can see, you can hear that labored breathing, that blood is now going into the lungs. And you can see the other lionesses aren't too perturbed at keeping it down now. They're starting to feed. So it is quite a precarious spot where we are. You can see that buffalo is still trying to get up. It's amazing the fight these old buffalo bulls have. Now you can see they're not going for the traditional throat grip. Being females, they're a bit smaller. So with lionesses without males, quite often the nose hold works better. So I know this is really, really difficult for a lot of people to watch, but the lions, as I say, have a lot of cubs to feed. Yeah, he's starting to struggle to breathe as his lungs fill with blood. So it is 5 minutes towards the end of the show, but we are obviously going to extend because this is incredible. And remember, this is live. This is happening at right this very second. The Nkuhuma Pride of Lions have caught an old dugger boy. Abel, try from where you are now. Come in towards the Shkova from where you are. copy. You can see how the blood is starting to coagulate almost there, and you can see the pink frothiness of that blood. Is quite a bit of it is coming up from the lungs. Now you can see those lionesses have already decided. They've started to tuck in. Now, incredible amount of energy is expelled by the lions to bring down an animal of this size. He's still fighting. I'm afraid, for his sake, I think this battle is lost. Oh, let's go across to Jamie. Candice, go ahead.
The air is just rent with the sound of this buffalo. I cannot believe how long he has fought for. Truly filled with admiration for these incredible animals. And it's both an exhilarating and a heartbreaking sight. These lionesses are doing what they do best. I'm going to send you back over to Brent. We just want to keep giving you a view from an alternate perspective.
Okay, we're back down in the drainage. And you can see that buffalo is seriously struggling to breathe now. So, I know this is quite difficult to watch, but it shouldn't be too long. I'm just going to try and roll back a little bit to move this section of the vehicle out. Now that they've, oops, sorry, lions. A bit jumpy because of the buffalo. Just try to find a better spot. Oh. So while we just try and move quickly, let's go see Jamie's view from the top.
And while Brent changes his position, we still have this extraordinary view. I have never seen a lion hunt from this perspective. And there we go, starting to have that aggression with each other as they get into each other's space. And this will become even more apparent once they have completed their grisly deed and they start to eat the buffalo in earnest. And lions will fight each other for every scrap of meat initially when they first start to feed, and these lionesses are hungry. Now guys, one of us is going to have to give up our position in the sighting relatively soon so that other vehicles can come in, and because of the perspective that I'm in, I think Brent has got a better position. So we will stay here for as long as possible. My arm is starting to shake because the adrenaline is just adrenaline has just kicked in. This is absolutely extraordinary. There's Brent repositioning and chatting to Mike. This is getting closer and closer, finally, to the last moments. And you just, in this situation, you just want it to be over for the poor buffalo. The lioness is playing a patient waiting game. One of the lionesses taking point at the head. Guys, this will be our last perspective from this angle. We have to give up our position in this sighting. We're going to move off and let other vehicles come in, but we're going to send you back over to Brent.
No, Jamie, don't go. Unfortunately, this battery is going to last another 5 minutes at the most on our camera, so I think we'll give up our spot, and it is also Jamie who found them hunting. So maybe this will give Jamie a chance to get down and around to my position before our battery dies. As you can see, that buffalo, look at that, that lioness is getting kicked in the head, but she's still trying to feed. So I just got to talk to Jamie quickly. Jamie, confirm you are between the two drainages. Okay. We'll stay just as long as our battery's about to die. So Vernon, you can come take my spot, and then Mike, you'll be first standing by. Okay, so we're going to stay down here for as long as we can, but our battery is about to die, unfortunately. Look at that. So I know this can be quite harsh. That they are already feeding. She's actually opening up his stomach at the moment, but he's still alive. And the other lioness is feeding off his rump. Sorry guys, there's a bit of okay, so guys, also there's obviously a lot of people waiting for this sighting, and we're going to stay as long as we can with the battery. I think Jamie's going to try reposition to get a better view, and then we're going to have to move out and let the other guys come in and get a chance. But well done, Jamie. As you can see, she's still holding on. So Buffalo, oh, he's still fighting. I know this is really difficult to watch, guys, but this, as I keep saying, is nature. And those little cubs we love so much are sustained on the milk of this buffalo. know this is very difficult, and I'm just going to keep quiet. And I know a lot of people might be finding this very difficult, but just, you've got to look at it with the big circle of life. Oh, they're already starting to fight over feeding. Okay. The breathing is starting to get far more labored. Oh, what's happening? There's a fight. There's something else there. Is it a male lion? Is it a leopard? What happened? That lioness just took off. That lion just took off and chased something. Here come the males. So these male lions are running in here. They've obviously heard this buffalo dying. But the lioness obviously weren't sure whether, or some of the lionesses are running away. This might not be the Birminghams. Could this be new males, Salati males? Look at this, isn't this amazing? That reaction it's a bit unusual if this was the Birmingham boys. What's going on? Sorry, I'm going to just put my spotlight behind me. There's only the lioness who's holding the buffalo down. What? Could it be the Birminghams? Could it be new males? Stations 4 of the one side to have run away after those one was caught. Only one still in the buffalo. So I'm just keeping quiet. I'm trying to hear if those males, if or when those males arrive. And can you believe it? We can hear Jean-Ray singing from here. I think the buffalo's finally died. No. Oh, yes, I think that was just nerves. What happens when you look up and all your sisters are gone? Look at that face. Any lioness is still behind you, Dave, that you can see. Now, this is a great risk for lions when they kill something as big as a buffalo, just to have it stolen by some male lions. So our battery seems to be surviving for now, but we don't know how long it's going to last. So if we do disappear, we do apologize. Jamie is trying to get around. You hear something growling. Oh, look, her dew claw is caught. One of her claws is caught. So I'm just going to take the spotlight off. I want to see what she's growling at. So That buffalo's distress calls could have brought male lions running in from 10 kilometers away. Oh, sounds like someone's coming back. Ah, one of the lionesses is coming back behind us. So the initial panickers seems to be over. It could be the Birmingham boys. She's going to walk right next to Dave, and she's going to pop out right in the corner of the camera. And I can hear another one walking in behind me. There's a male, there's the male. Scent marking. So it could possibly be one of the Birmingham boys. I thought I heard two males roaring. So I'm sure he's going to come down. This could be quite spectacular shortly. I saw another set of eyes behind him. And I thought I heard two males. He's busy scent marking on top of the hill there. Now you can see the lioness who did the killing is panting heavily. She's not even thinking about eating. She was stuck onto that buffalo's nose for so long. The amount of energy she's expended to bring that animal down, it's just incredible. Dave, just tell me what you want. Sorry. So Dave was trying to sign language me and I didn't understand. There's that male, he's still up on top. There he is. Why aren't you charging in here, mister? Have you really got a full belly? Dave, just come back. I want to see something on the other side of the spotlight. See, this lioness has lifted her head. As I said, I thought I heard males coming from the northwest as well. I can't see. Oh, he's fighting with one of the lionesses. Here he comes. Yay, free meal. Definitely looks like one of the Birminghams. Yep, you can just see the scent marking, the lioness's reactions to him. He's got such a full belly. So he's not that hungry. That's why he hasn't made such a big deal. Normally a male lion, if he was hungry, he'd run in here and whack the females. I actually think there's a mating pair up on top behind us as well. Let's see, there's something going on behind me again. I can see a lioness in the distance, but I'm not sure if there's a male there as well. See, I heard other males roaring to the north. Oh, he's growling at something. I'm just going to reverse a bit so we can see. see another male up there, Dave. Oh, there's a big stump. I can't hit that, can I? Oh, we can't see anything just yet. Well, I'm just going to move my lights. But he is growling at something up there. So it could be another one of the Birmingham boys. Isn't this just spectacular? We're right in the middle of the African bush, live with the pride of lions that has just taken down a buffalo live. The second ever live buffalo kill on SafariLIVE. By the same pride, the Nkahuma pride. There's 3 lionesses here. I know one's off to my left, so we are still missing one. Oh, there's another male. There's a second male. I thought I heard 2 males calling. I think that's the mating pair we might have been tracking this morning. Mm-hmm. And to me it sounds like there might even be more coming from the north. I keep hearing something up there. Can't see anything. I think there's a third male to the north that's coming. Maybe even 2. Jamie has certainly saved cat today. And she's going to come take over for me. I said we might disappear at any second. So we've got at the moment I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 different lions, and I still think there's a couple more coming. So we're missing 1 lioness, and I still think there's some males coming from the north. I just want to see where Jamie is, because I'm going to have to move. Jamie. What's your position? Jamie, what's your position? Copy, I've got your audio. I'm going to make my way out. Okay, guys, I'm going to make space. My battery's not going to die. My battery is going to die. Jamie's is not. So we're going to say, wow, and we'll definitely come see these lions again tomorrow. The second ever. the live buffalo kill on Safari Live. Bye, lions. Okay, so wow, wasn't that exciting? Jamie saved a cat today. Oh, there's the fifth lioness. She's just lying off to the right there. There she is. I'm just going to find my way out of here now. And she happens to be on my road. Well, we'll have to go around her. Oh no, I don't think we can. So there's Jamie, she's going in. So from myself and the Dangerous Dish, what an incredible Saturday sunset, Catterday safari. So let's jump back on board with Jamie as she makes her way back towards those Inca on the kill.
What an absolutely incredible afternoon. That has been well and truly one of my most memorable moments in the bush that I have ever experienced. And as this is something that we couldn't show you, unfortunately we didn't have signal, but as Jandre and myself made our way out of that sighting, and I've just realized I've knocked my light up into the sky. Let me just fix that before we go in. As we came out of that sighting, I was busy trying to off-road, and this male lion appeared out of nowhere, roaring right next to the car, out of the darkness. I promise you, Jandre and myself both levitated about 20 centimeters into the air. I was about to exaggerate, but I'm not going to. But we really did, we levitated. Because all of a sudden there was just these two males right next to us on either side. I couldn't see anything in the thick bush. It's just been incredible. Okay, let me try and get through here. We're going to be playing a bit of Tetris here with the other vehicles. I don't know if Tetris is the right word, but it certainly feels like Tetris. Just so that we can get in. So just hold on, bear with me a moment. Brent is trying to get out, and there's another vehicle trying to get out as well. You can hear Brent creaking through. Ah, there's a male lion. He's not even feeding. I expected him to be feeding. Oh. Well, that was unfortunate. Sorry, Jandre. Oh, there's so many radios. I'm getting confused. I can't answer Brent. I'm tangled in my jacket. Oh, no. Okay, there's the male lion, everybody. Standing by. Copy, confirm south of my position now. Okay, copy that, thank you. Should I come back onto the road or keep going from where I am? Oh. Copy that, thank you. There's a one of the Impala here, right in front of me. Okay, guys, we're going to try and reposition to just get to where Brent has told us we can go. There's another vehicle in my way, and it's really, really tricky to get in. I don't actually know how we're going to, except by moving around. You can come, Tax. I think we'll have to try and go through here. I can't see with this light on. No, it's fine. I've got it. Oh, sorry guys. Didn't mean to blind you. Thanks so much. Shem, hope you got to see it. Yo, that happened so fast. Cool. Alright, cheers guys, have fun.
Thank you.
Cheers. Alright, let's see how Brent managed to get in here, because it's now totally dark and I can't see where to go, but I want to get to that buffalo. I know we've got the male lion here. I think we can do it this way. There we go. Okay, we got it. No, boy, you're not hungry. Oh. There's the lioness. And no way to get into the buffalo kill. You can hear them crunching away. I would like to have a chance to get to see the buffalo kill before we end off. We have extended, as you may be able to tell, we have extended our show considerably. But let's try and get to this buffalo carcass. There's just a male lion sort of lying there that we're going to have to circumnavigate. Brent said go left and there's a big elephant path, but things are very difficult in the dark. But I think if I squeeze through here, I'm going to have to move around the edge of this male. I think this is where Brent meant. You okay there, Jean? Thank you. This must be where Brent meant. If it's not, well, we'll find a way. We'll find a way through here. I know we won't. Where this elephant path is. Absolutely no idea. I can't find it. This is not the way. Okay. We're getting signal here. We're definitely not going to have signal there. I can't see the line. Guys, unfortunately, I think trying to get into this drainage line isn't going to work out for us today, especially with Wendy's signal. We've had the most amazing experience, but I don't think we're going to manage it, unfortunately. And I've also got several vehicles waiting to get into the sighting now. We will be here first thing tomorrow morning to follow up on these lions. I don't know how Brent got in here, and I can't manage it with this lion lying where he is. He's out. Oh, Chandre's in a quarry bush. I'm sorry, Chandre. There's so much going on. And we have